To everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday, wherever you are. I hope you're dry. Uh, Peace and blessings and concerns to people dealing with tornadoes and all kind of inclement weather, floods in the Texas area. Uh, wow, we got tornado touchdown. I don't know where this is coming with this weather, but I'm not surprised. Let me say that. While I don't know what's going on with the weather, let me say I'm not surprised because we've been talking about inclement weather, climate change, and at some point in time it gets beyond human reasoning, if you will, and the weather's going to do what it does. Mother Nature is only a surprise to us. So let me start out today. I want to give a shout out to my good friend Mustafa Davis. Please send some du'as out his way. His mom is fighting a very tough transition. Mustafa is a dear friend, good brother. He was the director on the Love Supreme comedy special. Good brother, man. So du'as out to him. Also du'as out to my brother, Mark Canada, his father, Mr. Canada. Peace and blessings to him. And we pray that Allah gives him comfort as he transitions as well. Let me get into the crux of the topic today. Let's throw that banner. Let's throw the banner up today, Sister Donna. The core of this topic. Oh, that's not the banner. Here comes the banner. No, that's not the banner, Sister Tana. Okay, let me help Sister Tana out. Yeah, let me help you out. There we go. All right, there we go. Thank God for the live TV. We love you, Sister Tana. You know that. Our topic today, brothers and sisters, is do blacks still matter in America? This topic, we could be doing this for the next year, if you will. I'm bringing this to bear because it's just things going around that we see in the purview. We see rap battles. You have rap battles. You have comedians going after one another. And my brother, Dr. Bilal Ware, he lost his Instagram page. They took it down. They robbed him, so he don't have an Instagram page anymore. We saw other people who were very vocal about Palestine. They lost their Instagram pages. We're also looking at a historical resolution that just went through Congress. If you're not paying attention, where it's literally against the law to say bad things about the Israeli government. I mean, you have all of these things, right? We've been talking about them. I think the problem, and I would take some responsibility for blame on this. Maybe I've been a little bit passive in terms of really, really going out and aggressively saying these things. Now, my reservation of one, I don't like to go out and spend a lot of energy where I feel like the energy is not going to be well received. But I think number two, I have not done a good job of breaking this down to its basic components and being able to take this message to the lowest common denominator in the room and teach. Yes, Preacher Mars has accused himself of not being in the teaching business. So I will today begin to correct some of that. And I hope that you'll be patient with me as we talk about do blacks still matter in America. We're beginning to see something that is spoken about in the Quran, about this normalization of not just things that are wrong being normal, but mediocrity is being pushed to the forefront and presented as some type of excellence. That we don't have leaders anymore, we have influencers. Listen to me. We don't have leaders anymore, we have influencers. Who do they influence? Where did you get your influence from? What school did you go to? Who did you study with? How come I never saw you protesting? It is the advent of I have a phone or a computer and I have an opinion. And the game is how can I get people to support my opinion? And in the technical term, they call it likes. How can I get you to like my opinion? Not respect it, not challenge it, not promote it. But how can I get you to like? And that, brothers and sisters, has led to a downfall and the demise of the central modality of what builds leaders. So when I say do blacks still matter in America, what I'm saying in a matter of fact speaking is without effective leadership, without effective black leadership, and let me coin this, it's not effective black leadership for black people only. It's effective leadership for the entire world. You know, we make the mistake of thinking of Martin Luther King as the leader of black folks and civil rights. He was not. He was world reviving or world revered. That's why he got a Nobel Peace Prize. Malcolm X is received and he is revered worldwide. That's why when he goes to Mecca, you know, he has these information. He has a relationship with the Pan-African movements. Do you hear what I'm saying? Myself as a comedian, I'm going to give you a great example of what I'm talking about. When we talk about rap beefs, you know, whatever it's Cat Williams or Faison Love, all these people, that's changed the dynamic of comedy, particularly with African-American comedy, which is always the most difficult route to Hollywood to be successful, which is being an African-American comedian, because you always have to deal with the space that at some point in time, somebody's going to come to you, write you a check, and you got to sell out. I'm going to give you guys a very, very astute representation, narrative of what is going on. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to ask you to hold on. Don't go anywhere because I'm probably going to rock when we come back from the break. The intro, I'm going to rock all the way to about 5:30. And I think you really need to listen to what I'm saying because I never said it before. This is Preacher Moss on the ShOUT Show. We're talking about do blacks still matter in America? Don't you move. We'll be right back. We just took that off there. No big deal. No big deal. All right. Shout out Sister Satana. I'm going to give Sister Satana her flowers at the top of the show. Exec producer. Thank you so much, Sister Satana, for tuning in. And we appreciate those wonderful banners that you make for the ShOUT Show. Sister Satana actually opened up my world, another aspect of my creative world, introducing me to Canva. And I know sometimes she thinks I go Canva crazy. That would be correct. And I am going to go Canva crazy, Sister Satana, because it's your fault that I want to seek a certain type of excellence with what I do. So it's your fault. So I'm giving my shout out to Sister Satana. I want to give a shout out, of course, to the ShOUT Show family. I'm going to give a shout out to my main man, Altaf Rashid. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brother, better known as Mr. 6 o'clock. Straight up, straight down, our Canadian envoy to the show. He is one of our day ones. Also, Sister Ree. Sister Ree, how you doing? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear sister. Peace and blessings to you, Brother Derek and Brother Juwan. Thank you so much for tuning in. That's my big sister. When you gonna be cooking, sister? You ain't cooked nothing in a while. I gotta get on your case. Did you lose your touch? Because the world gonna end if I bring you some food. Big brother Bilal Salahuddin, what's going on, beloved? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And I'm gonna give you a shout out. And Sister Sonia Dalton Salahuddin, what's going on, big sis? Hope you're doing well. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I want to give a shout out to my brother Eric Carter down in South Kakalaki. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, beloved. Thank you so much for joining. I know we have some people in Instagram. Please be sensitive with your brother. I'm trying to make it going on, make it happen. Let me do it real quickly. Sister Ruth Nasrullah and Brother Jamal. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Ali is working on the Preacher Moss documentary Hilarious and Halal, tentatively title Hilarious and Halal. Doing a great job. So much love to my brother. So T. Abu Basir, okay. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Little brother Ahmed Khatib, my main man. Muhammad, 73 joined. Thank you so much. Ninja Nessie joined. Assalamu alaikum to all y'all. Oh, hey, my man, Ali Amir Ali. What's going on? What's going on, brother? Prideful Patches. Okay, cool. Jack Ajay Craddy and Rifle on the Side. Okay, Rifle on the Side. All right. And Zilorco. So I went through everybody. Alhamdulillah. Let me get to the business of the show. Let me start with comedy. Because when Cat Williams did the show with Shay and it got all those reviews, I was getting all these calls about Preacher Moss, what do you think about Cat Williams going in or da-da? What do you think about that? And I didn't say what I really wanted to say because I didn't know how it was going to be received, but I also wanted to make sure that I was sure about what I was saying. Here's the problem with black comedy today. In fact, here's the problem with Muslim comedy today. Not my contemporaries, but the people I follow, the people I love, the Dick Gregorys, the Richard Pryors, the Red Foxes, even the Bill Cosbys. I followed and loved these comedians, not just for their comedy, brothers and sisters, but I respected that they had a connected narrative to black leadership. So if you read the autobiography of Malcolm X talks about a comedian that he worked with, he washed dishes with. That was Red Fox. He was Detroit. Well, he was Detroit Red, and Red Fox was Chicago Red. And throughout Red Fox's career, he always referenced black nationalism, things like that. Bill Cosby had a connection to HBCUs. Richard Pryor had a connection to the Beatniks. He had a connection to Miles Davis. All my jazz players had connections to leadership. You know, you start going through all this. And of course, my mentor was Dick Gregory. Muslim comedians who I deal with, my younger ones, enjoy a relationship that I have with Dick Gregory. Thus, the idea of comedy is always going to be framed a certain way. It's going to have a certain social tinge to it because I was blessed to have a connection to that type of leadership. Not only that leadership, but the leadership of a man worth the name Muhammad, also the leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I am blessed as a Muslim. What you see now is a void. There's a crisis deficit in black leadership. And here's the deal. Everybody's not meant to be a leader. That's what the old folks knew. That's what old heads knew. They knew that everybody wasn't meant to be a leader. My case in point. Some people were meant to be good guides. They weren't there to get you from point A to Z. They were there to get you from maybe point A to C, and somebody else picked it up, D. And that's what the foundation is for good leadership. I say that there's a leadership deficit, and I ask the question. I still ask the question: do blacks still matter in America? And I'm going to tell you why I brought this question up. The answer is yes, but we're on life support. We're on life support because you see the tussling now. I mean, look at things that are being talked about black leaders. They're not black leaders. You know, whether it's Kendrick Lamar beefing with Drake, whether it's 50 Cent beefing with P. Diddy. I know that there's a problem, and I say that black leadership is on life support because we don't hold up our women. We've stopped holding up our women. And when you don't hold up the women, black women in particular, Muslim women in particular, if you don't hold them up, then you hold them back. You say we have all this flack going on, and did he do it? Did he not do it? All this distractions. Do you know that the mayor of Los Angeles is a black woman? The VP of the United States is a black woman. We had a woman who's the mayor of Chicago, black woman. We're not holding them up because these aren't actresses and they're not singers and things like that. These are women who go through a very difficult and trying political process to get to where they are, where there are no shortcuts and there are no front seats. You can't cut in line, but they wear They weathered the storm, and we're not holding them up. Thus, the problem is we don't have a chain of command anymore. And as we begin to look further and further down the line, I looked behind myself. I said, hey, so-and-so comedian had me and I was connected to a particular type of leadership. Who are they going to connect to when I'm gone? Black comedy is farcical for the most part. Coonish, cartoonish, whatever. I always, when I read ShOUT, when it gets to the end, it says, who's the person, the person who's the worst guy, the person that thought they were doing good deeds, and those good deeds would not be counted. This is what we're in right now. People think they're doing things that it has weight, that it has value, and it really, really doesn't have that. And if you begin to look at the whole idea of Black excellence in present society, what are we promoting? What are we building? I made a joke, and a couple of people got upset. A man named Frank Tyson. I can't remember where he was. His name's Frank Tyson. The police were called. Frank wrecked his car. He was in a vehicle. It looked like he was having a mental issue. The police came in, and he's like, they're trying to kill me. They're trying to kill me. They put Frank down, and I don't know what this fetish is about white officers putting in their knees on Black men's neck when they're already handcuffed. But this man yelled, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. To which the cop said, shut the F up. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. And it wasn't just him saying I can't breathe. It was him saying I can't breathe. It was George Floyd saying I can't breathe. It was Eric Garner saying I can't breathe. And if I walk past a white person right now, they don't have to touch me. I'm going to go, I can't breathe. Literally. And what does that mean? It means that we're in a fear culture whereby we're not producing the excellence that got us here in the first place. Am I saying we're stalled? In many regards, I am saying that we're stalled. But what happens is the creativity, the bravery, the consistency, the willingness. Here it is, the willingness and the change of ethic is the thing that's allowed us to thrive. And we're not thriving right now. Thus, we now see our issues being pushed to the side, that anti-Semitism is the new anti-Black racism, it's the new anti-Muslim racism, that you have a resolution that was passed today saying that it is criminal, it can affect your job options and your career in the United States, to talk about a foreign government, to talk about Israel. I'm going to say it, to talk about Israel. You have judges now. You have federal judges saying that if you are a law student at Columbia, we're not going to hire you. Now, I'm not a law student at Columbia, but think about that. That someone feels the space, they feel the gravitas that they can affect your legal career just because you graduated from Columbia. Not that you said anything, just because you graduated. And they see, and think of this, brothers and sisters, even in my neck of the woods in Washington, D.C., we have school boards. The Montgomery County School Board is now being brought in front of a congressional hearing, I believe, to talk about anti-Semitism and how they haven't addressed anti-Semitism. The hell are you talking about? You ain't addressed Black kids getting killed. You ain't addressed inequity in the school system. You haven't addressed the issues of Latinos. You haven't addressed any of that. But now we're going to usurp it because all of a sudden, to have an opinion, to have a creative thought, to have an idea of courage, to have an idea of right and wrong, somehow is anti-Semitic, and it's corresponding to what a foreign government is saying, a foreign government that doesn't pay a damn bill over here. That's why I'm saying, do Blacks matter in America? Because we're the only ones who will stand up and say these things. There is no plan B for effective leadership here in the United States if Black people do not stand up and say, this is the line to cross. If you cross this line, These are the repercussions. And it seems to be watered down because they give you entertainment. They give you entertainment. In Arizona, you see people who are attacking hijabis, calling them bees, walking up on them, being physically aggressive, because now they feel they have the preponderance to do so. They have the effect to do so. For years, Muslim communities they've been fooling themselves dealing with multi-faith coalitions. I call it multi-fake because when you get in a situation when a person can really show you who they are with minus repercussions, minus consequences, they're going to show you who they are. And my generation of African Americans and the ones before me, we were the ones that pulled cards. We were the ones that said, we don't go for that. I remember going back all the way to 2020, and Satana, you could back me up on this. 2020, I was saying, you know what? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad had a point. That maybe we need to separate away from this madness and this toxicity. And people said, preacher, you're being racist. I'm not being racist. Guess what? If I see a people in a room and they're smoking and I don't want to smell like smoke, I don't want to inhale smoke, guess what? I keep myself away from the people who smoke. I'll build with the people that I have commonality with. We're forcing ourselves to deal with people who are, in essence, sick people, toxic. The politicians, ladies and gentlemen, you're aware, our government has been bought. Over 90% of our politicians accept money from the Israeli lobby. Now, here's the deal. I can care less because I know, hey, they accept money from, the tobacco company and all that. The lobby is a lobby. But this is different. This is different. It's meant to squeeze out leadership. It's meant to put you under the thumb of the situation because you took some money and to make you fear that if you take this money, you won't, one, have money, two, you won't have the position. That our elections, forget about the Russians, that our elections are being shaped and formed by people who want us to do and say exactly what they tell us to do. Now, here's the funny part. See, because, Black people and Latinos also, and other people of color, but primarily those two groups, because we have the numbers, because we have a cultural tunness, that's something that can't be broken, right? I talk about a rap battle between Drake and Kendrick Lamar. It made the streaming services a lot of money. It made the streaming services a lot of money. I have respect for Muhammad Ali and the Joe Frazier and the George Foreman, that if they were going to fight, they made sure they made good money off the fight. That they brought in people who had their interests covered for the fight. Because even they'll tell you, the great Muhammad Ali would tell you, it's entertainment, baby. It's entertainment. But leadership is different. The question at the bottom of your screen is, do Blacks still matter in America? We're holding on, barely. And let me say this, the only reason I'm saying that we're still a little relevant is because of our elders. Because they established such a blueprint and the template for us going back 10, 20, 30, 40, 100 years that it can't be erased. Sorry, Ron DeSantos, that it can't be erased, and that DNA is in us. But as present constructed in this society, that DNA is being constantly washed out. This is no knock against mixed couples. It's no knock. But when you turn on the TV, I was watching, I do my research. There's a couple on here. There's an African guy and a white girl. And they're going all around Africa and all of that. They're going all around Africa and all they do is dance. They're a couple and all they do is dance. Hey, hey, hey. And I said, what is that? But they're representing an American point of view. And an American point of view is this white girl can go all over Africa. all over Africa with this other African, and people would dance with them. But if he would have come over here and danced with that white girl in some rural part of Virginia, he gets strung up. What am I saying? I'm going to keep it clear. The fix is in. The fix is in. You see the YouTube and Instagram. I don't know how long my show is going to be on. I'm going to tell y'all something straight up. Sister Zatanna made a wonderful flyer for the show. She made a wonderful flyer for the show. You see it on Instagram. You won't see it on Facebook. For some reason, it didn't load on Facebook. You know, when I read Brother Bilal, Dr. Bilal's thing, he said his whole Facebook page was taken down because they said he was saying something false. Well, what is he saying? Man, he's speaking to an abyss that the system for Instagram said you did something wrong and you have nowhere to go to plead your case. You just shouting in the wind, please put you may turn on one day and Preacher Mars and Instagram is going to be gone. That's why I don't put a whole lot of energy in Instagram, to be truthful with you. Because if they take it, you know, I don't want to invest in it, because if they take it, I don't want to be out here singing Negro spirits. Oh Lord, they done took my Facebook and my Instagram. Jesus help me. Astaghfirullah, I'm praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to get my Instagram back. Get my IG back, Lord, please. But it's happening. You know, for you guys that don't know, guess what? They took Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's Facebook account and his IG. He never got it back. Riz Islam, gone, never got it back. Well, to preach, maybe you're being picky. No, I'm not being picky. You know, there are Jewish people who talk about anti-Zionism. They talk about Zionism and really what it is, and they give these very detailed historical understandings and overlays about what it is we're really dealing with. These Jews are being shouted down by Zionist Jews. They shut down Jews. Now, if they're shutting down the Jews, what chance do you have? This is something that's happening in their house. What chance do you have? This Instagram, we don't own it. This Twitter, we don't own it. Paramount Studios, we don't own it. Disney, we don't own it. You know, what's funny, I was reading something about this new resolution that you can't badmouth Israel, or else they have a right. Hear me now. They have a right to address you in a way that it can affect your employment. In the great city of Houston, we had a Palestinian brother. He spoke out up against Israel, and he had a public contract. They took his public contract. They tried to make a sister sign an agreement that said that she wouldn't speak against it. She was a school teacher. These are things that are going on around us. Why people keep dancing. They keep dancing. Hey, look at me, I'm dancing. Well, this is the world that we live in. So if we say do blacks still matter in America, the answer isn't yes or no. To me, the answer is we have to matter in America. We have to matter in America. You know, as a culture, we've been a Batman and we've never had a Robin. Dig what I'm saying? We've been the Batman. We've never had a Robin. And in that space, that's what makes us unique. That's what makes us special. That's what makes our comedy so much different than everybody else. I laid out something that, wow, I should probably be doing a doctorate on it. Talking about how comedy, the real comedy, brothers and sisters, of a Red Fox, of a Richard Pryor, they were tied to cultural leaders. They were tied to cultural icons. You know, that a Muhammad Ali and a Red Fox had a relationship. And a Malcolm X and a Red Fox had a relationship. And Miles Davis knew about Coltrane, and Coltrane knew about Islam in Philadelphia, and they knew about, Minister Jeremiah Shabazz. This is what I'm telling you. The history books won't, even the black history books can't tell you this stuff. Even though I may be called the OG of Muslim comedians, the OG Muslim comedy, of Muslim comedy, let's be real. It was Dick Gregory that said, what you going to do for your people? Y'all got problems. And though Allah Made Me Funny is not here anymore, and at a point we had to take it down because it lost the flavor. Because the people that were on the tour, they weren't tied to anything cultural leaders. They might be tied to another comedian. That comedian wasn't tied to anybody. They didn't sit at the feet of particular leadership and learn the language. I'd say the lexicon. They didn't learn the understanding, the history, the narrative. They didn't understand any of that. And so now when you watch comedy, it is pretty much like the politics that you see. It's farcical. You know, the interesting thing, and I'm gonna jump off here in a minute. Sorry, Tatan, I'm gonna jump off here in a minute. And maybe I need to come to this. You know, the most powerful thing about Black leadership and Black people in America, it's not that we produced Black leaders. We did that. But we kept leaders who weren't Black in line. We made them check boxes they would never check before. We made them sign off on things that they would never sign off before. They wouldn't do that. Shout out to brother JT, my little brother. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Shout out to my queen auntie. Yes, we must matter in America. This is what I'm telling you, brothers and sisters. That we produced a body politic, if you will, that held people accountable. And now we don't hold people accountable. We're a watered down rendition of what we were supposed to be. You know, this is think about this. You know, we talk more about comedy shows than we talk about the March on Washington. We talk more about Beyonce than we talk about the Million Man March. Which one is more significant? You tell me. In a historical imperative, which one? My brother JT is on the show. He and I went to the Million Man March. And as I ease into my 60s, I can't relate to children what that looks like in a continuum when they look around and say, that sounds like a fantasy. That all these Black men got together, that's a fantasy. And you got to look long and hard on YouTube to find information. And pretty soon, brothers and sisters, that'll be filtered out. It was already not in the history books, but it'll be filtered out. So let me throw this out here before I let everybody go. As Queen Auntie said, we must matter in America. So do Blacks still matter in America? No. The answer is we must matter. We are the Batman with no Robin, with no Alfred, with no Batwoman. We don't have capes and superpowers. What we have is super spirituality. And that super spirituality is the thing that drives the nation conference, the conscience of the nation, at least framing it to be held up. That things are not done in the background. You understand this thing I talked about, this resolution just passed? Do you understand what I'm talking about? That you now can be found somehow almost legally, criminally liable if you say something about a foreign government. A foreign government, not even your government. That the next Savior's Day, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan can get up there and give facts about Israel, and they can lock him up on stage. Think about that. Think about it. All right, brothers and sisters, have a wonderful day. Inshallah, we'll be back next week if they hadn't taken us off, right, Satana? If they haven't taken us off of IG and figured out a way to mess up my StreamYard and things like that, inshallah, we'll be back. But in case we're not back, let me throw this out. In case we're not back, in case something does happen, because things happen, remember what I said. And I will make a vow to get off my stump and do a better job of teaching and sharing information. In the future, you will find that the ShOUT show, it might be on the road. I've got to move around. I've got to be around my people. Road trips, sitting in people's barbershops, sitting in people's stores and restaurants, talking to them about, what is America now? Because we need to have that conversation. We haven't had it in a long time. When we try and have the conversation, it's drowned out by beats and rap battles and things like that, and super concerts and Taylor Swift and Beyonce. No, not to all of them. They're doing what they're doing. That's business. But we can't hear the whispers of Malcolm. Can't hear the wisdom of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We forgot about Martin a little bit. We haven't produced the leaders that give us that cultural connection all the way back. The cultural griots, if you will. Where are they? We need to go back and find them, produce. In fact, if you're 40, 50 years old and you have the blessing of having your parents still in this, go talk to them. Ask them how they made it. Who were their heroes when they grew up? Ask them, who were your heroes when you grew up? When you were in 1940 and 1950, who were your heroes? Who did you listen to? Who's the person that sparked something in their heart that said, this black existence thing should be black. It should be black excellence. And that's the thing that drove the narrative for people like myself and people like you. I'm Preacher Moss. This is the Shout Out Show. Inshallah, we will see you next week.